Ben, you live at the top of bullshit mountain. I am so sorry.
I'm sorry. I set up for victims of crimes that were abused as children
you can't
sexually.
Sit here. You can't
That's
sit
not
here.
bullshit.
You become the party of protecting pedophiles.
Hold on a
That's
second.
what you're doing.
What the hell is wrong with you? I just said,
President, why didn't you press the kid? Guys, you're the guy you're defending was best friends with. Said Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
That's just a lie.
Very close for years.
I mean, I understand you guys make this crap up as you go, but like,
well, she denied her guilt in the interview.
Most criminals lie. Newsflash. Most criminals lie. That's like not shocking.
Then why on earth?
Are they talking to her?
And asking
why
questions.
are they talking to her?
Making sure to, because sometimes in life, criminals will lie and then they'll tell you something else. It's called a lie to get out.
Why does he keep leaving that door open? Why did they move her to a nicer prison? Why don't they just release the files that they have in their possession that they can release?
My question would be, what did President Biden or any...
That line
I don't
of
like the
questioning,
fact that you're making up things
everybody
as you go
in
about
America
Trump
is
implying he did
asking
something.
the same question.
They're not
Why
asking
was
that
she
question.
moved? Why was she moved, Ben?
Office and expose the deep state.
Because you guys
and
said there were Epstein files when you were in office,
right? And then they got in office, and they obviously don't want to do it. So the
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this segment. This has to be one of the most brutal, heated debates I've seen yet. This guy Pete let Dumbo have it. I mean, this was brutal. Very much needed to say this out loud. Check this out, and we'll talk about it.
We are hearing the prison tapes of the interview between the Trump Justice Department and Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice. Now, remember, Ghislaine Maxwell wants a pardon and is known to be less than credible. We also know that she mysteriously was moved to a cushier prison after this chat. And in the interview, she claims that Donald Trump did absolutely nothing wrong.
I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
You'll also remember the White House faced intense pressure last month to turn over the Epstein files, and the DOJ's number 2 spoke with Maxwell in a highly unusual move. Maxwell is currently serving 20 years in prison for the trafficking scheme, and her sit-down made a point to flatter the president.
President Trump was always very cordial and very kind to me, and I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now, and I like him, and I've always liked him.
Guys, I don't know about you, but that sounds very credible to me. Not at all like she was told to say those exact words. I mean, are these people the dumbest people on the planet? Who's going to believe that?
She clearly understood the assignment here, Asha. What are we to do with this lengthy interview where clearly she understands that she needs to volunteer information about President Trump? She needs to vindicate him in a certain way, flatter him. Can we take anything out of this?
I don't even understand the point of this interview. I mean, just to rewind, this is like sitting down with OJ to find the real killer, right? I mean, there's literally no real information that she can provide that would be credible. She was charged twice with perjury. She has said things in this interview that are inconsistent with the actual record of the case.
Yeah, it has always been similarly. I've been asking right here, what are they trying to get out of this? What is the point of all of this? And I think then the second part of it is then they've done this interview and now she's been moved to a cushy prison. So what did they think that they got out of it?
I don't know what they got out of it. What I know, the reason for having the conversation is the fact that besides her, who else has gone to jail that abused a ton of underage girls? And it went on for a very long time. And there's a lot of questions that people should ask about how is it that she's in jail and no one else is there? Does she have any information that maybe could actually bring justice to the victims? I think we should all be asking that question about the victims here. Well, how is it nonsense to want to put more people in jail that abuse young girls?
I'll tell you by referring to
Asha. Nonsense.
Asha can tell you.
For the victims? You're
I love
saying
how you're
for the
referring.
victims, it's
Well, she's
nonsense to
illegal.
even try to look out there and see, is there something maybe she lied about that now you have information about it?
Nonsense.
Nonsense. So in other words, One person goes to jail for all the victims watching tonight. We're not going to try to ever fix your problem.
You're
Sorry.
saying that they were trying to find new investigative
I'm
leads?
saying if you're
So
asking questions, is there a reason to ask questions? There's nothing wrong with asking those questions.
No follow-up questions in that entire transcript.
I go back to what I said a moment ago.
Dumbo always does this when he doesn't have an answer and is cornered. He always says the same thing. Again, I'll go back to this, blah, 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 and not answer the question. Answer Asha. Why were there no follow-up questions? No pushback. It's obvious what's going on here. All she's there to do is to clear Trump's name, because it's obvious to everyone, even his own supporters, that he's clearly involved. You have to be absolutely brain dead not to believe that.
You guys are angry that they decide to sit down with someone who, by the way, is alive because the other person, let me finish. The other person's dead. Epstein's dead. You have one person who's heavily involved in this, and if she did tell you something that led to someone getting charged or a conviction or someone that trafficked a young girl, that's not a bad thing.
You live at the top of bullshit mountain. I am so sorry.
I'm sorry. I said it for victims of crimes that were abused as children
you can't
sexually.
Sit here. You can't sit here. You become the party of protecting pedophiles.
Hold on a
That's
second.
what you're doing.
What the hell is wrong with you? I just said I want to put people in jail for doing that.
Pete and Ben, just 1 second. Look.
Oof, that was brutal. That was good. Oh, man. This is how you do it. This is how you go after these people. I appreciate Pete did that, because he may very well not be invited back on the show, even though no lies were said. You always need to stand back and understand what is going on here in its simplest form. Dumbo is defending the credibility of a known child trafficker and child abuser herself in Ghislaine Maxwell, and clearly gasping for air to defend Trump's involvement that we all can see. These victims were literally children, little effing kids. Sorry to say it like that. Like, is there anything Republicans will push back against? Like, not even this? Like I said, don't leave your kids around conservatives. At least I wouldn't. They just cannot be trusted. If you can still stand by Trump after all this, yeah, you don't need children around you whatsoever. This is incredible to me.
The answer to the question, did she have any information to provide, is no. Nothing came out of this interview in terms of actual investigative steps. And that is the part that is still within the Trump administration's power. They have an entire DOJ, and they have an entire investigative file. And yet the main focus has been sitting down with this known liar and getting her to just unspool.
Sex trafficker.
And
most criminals are.
But to the point of this, she is a known liar. She is known to have lied under oath, and she didn't provide any information. Right. So why don't they just actually investigate with the actual investigative files that they do have?
So there's a couple of things here. Number one, obviously she's clearly lying. She doesn't want to spend 20 more years, maybe the rest of her life, in prison. Her credibility is shot. The reason why they're doing it, though, is because they see it as a nice piece of raw meat to feed to a base that doesn't want to believe that the Trump administration is complicit in covering up the ritual sex abuse of children.
Yes.
Right? And so since that is the case, let's go through the motions rather than actually doing something. And if we were listening to the victims about Maxwell, we would hear victims say that this woman abused me, that this woman passed me around.
Here's a quote from a victim.
Say that.
I have a quote from a victim, if you wouldn't mind. I think they should be heard. This is Haley Robson. Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve any mercy. She doesn't deserve any grace. She deserves nothing. Why would anyone give someone like her, who is a monster and a liar, a time of day to explain anything? If you want the Epstein list, talk to the victims. And the fact that this is clearly Trump is implicated somewhere. He is trying to make sure she doesn't talk. That's the deal. It's all you need to know.
So before we go on, I just want to remind folks, to your point about the pardon and the victims, President Trump has repeatedly been asked about a pardon. And he keeps saying essentially the same thing, which is not no. Listen to this.
Why does he keep doing this? It's just so obvious.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that aspect of it, but right now, it would be inappropriate to talk about it.
Why does he keep leaving that door open? Why did they move her to a nicer prison? Why don't they just release the files that they have in their possession that they can release?
My question would be, what did President Biden or any other Democrat who's in the same position do better to actually go and help the victims?
They didn't do a damn thing.
Exactly.
They didn't do a damn
Exactly.
thing.
You can't sit here and say that
I am
the
curious about
sanctimonious.
why is that the first place that you go when I'm not even.
Trump just
So
said
by the way,
it's
hold on.
to go there.
By the way,
It's the first time to go there.
I just want to put on the table that it does not make a lot of sense, in my view, that if there was an enormous amount of dirt on President Trump and that was just sitting at the DOJ over the course of 2 Democratic presidents, that no one would have decided
Democrats love
to
leaking,
dig
and they
in
would have leaked
there
it. I agree with
and
you.
get it out. Okay,
thing-
so like,
they
so
do.
let's
They love
just,
leaking.
They would have
let's
done
just
that.
put that on the table.
One of the things.
But let's just address what this Trump administration.
No, let's not put that on the table. Abby, mommy, I just don't agree. Because then what is Trump clearly hiding? What could be this bad that he's willing to be called a very likely, very probable child abuser? The only option that is worse is a definitive one with actual evidence. And again, we were in a pandemic. It just wasn't the focus. The country was shut down. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that Trump is protecting anyone, protecting friends. He's not Vin Diesel. He does not care about people and family. This is not who he is. And again, we were in a pandemic. The country was shut down. The documents were sealed. And it just would have looked political if he tried to unseal them without knowing if there was evidence against Trump. And all these idiot MAGA pundits would be screaming, crying, saying how political and they're just trying to find dirt and it's a hoax. We all know what would have happened. Like, there's a lot of reasons that could be why Biden and the DOJ didn't look at it. Garland was a horrible AG. He dragged his feet on everything. Like, he was crappy. And hey, I'm open to being wrong. Maybe I am. I don't care if there's 1,000 Democrats on there. Get them all out. Lock them all up. I have no skin in the game. I can just see how it wasn't Biden's focus. But let's say if Clinton did something and that's why they didn't release it, then that's disgusting and horrible. But this is where we are now. Trump can release the files right now. And even Clinton said to release the files recently. He doesn't seem worried. You know who is worried? Trump. Republicans. Those MAGA pundits like Dumbo there. I wonder why.
Can do. That what they can do is release the files that they have. What they can do is not give Ghislaine Maxwell a nicer prison to be in. And they haven't done either of those things. Why?
But the answer to your question, by the way, is because Joe Biden wasn't best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Just to be,
Bill Clinton was.
Bill Clinton
Fine,
was.
do whatever you want to Bill Clinton. You said Joe Biden when he was president. Why didn't you press the kid?
He was in a position.
You're the guy you're defending was best friends with him.
Democrats
wasn't.
in here like
I said Trump was
like-
best friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
That's
They were
just a
very
lie.
close for
They weren't,
years.
but
I mean, I understand you guys
Epstein.
make this crap up as you go, but like, I go back to one point that just
I go back to, that he always does that. Epstein said it himself. Epstein's brother, who's still alive, said it himself that they were best friends. Like, cut the crap.
truly amazes me every time I'm on. You guys didn't ask any questions. I'm saying I want victims to actually have closure and the people that committed crimes against them to go to
Guys,
jail.
one at a time.
And you're mine.
Stop screaming.
Hold on a second,
and you're
Ben.
mad.
Ben, just
Okay,
a second.
hold on.
Let's
There's an explanation to
let's all
this.
just take it down a
There's
notch
an
because we
explanation to
cannot
this.
hear a thing that is being said.
Okay, can I
at
finish
this-
what I was saying
You
then?
cannot finish.
Okay.
You cannot. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. It's fine.
We have to take it down a notch. No one can hear or understand what is happening. Please, one at a time. Go ahead, Van.
So the Epstein list became a part of MAGA world lore. And why did it become a part of that? Because it was this gigantic mascot for the fact that there was a deep state that was all acting in this cabal that was controlling everything and hiding each other's secrets. And your guys,
Democrats called
wait
them
a
Epstein
second, wait a
files,
second.
bro.
Your guys said that they were going to get in office and expose the deep state.
'Cause you guys
and
said there were
expose
Epstein
all
files
of
when
this
you were in
stuff,
office.
right? And then they got in office, and they obviously don't want to do it. So the question of why is this an imperative? I'd ask you, why'd you make it one?
Can we bring this back to the interview, though? Because
Please.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on what the point here was. You say it was to find investigative leads. Do you believe that Ghislaine Maxwell is guilty?
Yes, I've said that for
Well, she denied
years.
her guilt in the interview.
Most criminals lie. Newsflash.
She
Most
was made-
criminals lie. That's like not
Then-
shocking.
Then why on earth would you believe anything she
For the
said?
same reason that if you're in law enforcement and you were at the FBI, you interview a lot of guilty
Yes, and
people
you know
to
what?
get leads from
when
them.
I was
That's
in the FBI,
not news.
I wouldn't interview somebody
So
unless
you would
I
ne-
knew
you never hold on. You
Let me-
never interviewed
hold on,
somebody
hold
as a criminal.
I would never interview
Ben.
somebody without knowing every fact of the case before I went to interview that person.
Okay.
What Todd Blanche did is go in without knowing anything. He didn't
And to
push
your
back.
point, no pushback.
No pushback. And Todd Blanche was Trump's personal lawyer. He went over there alone. And guess what? That lawyer is best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, lawyer. But nothing to see here, right? We're just trying to get information from Ghislaine. How anyone could fall for this.
No follow-up questions. Let me play what she said about this vaunted, alleged list that she says doesn't exist. Listen.
During the time that you were with Mr. Epstein, and even in the 2000s when you were around less frequently, you never observed or you never saw any sort of list or black book or a list of individuals who linked to certain masseuses or
Absolutely
anything
no.
like that?
Absolutely no. There is no list.
Asha, I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious about
What
your.
are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean that. First of all, the line of questioning, the way he questioned her, and also he works at the DOJ. Does he know if there's a list? Is that information
Oh, they had
in
a
the
long
investigative
exchange
files?
about the list. There's a list, but it's a book, but it's not really a list. I mean, it was like weird. This whole thing would be the kind of interview you do if you literally are just starting an investigation and you're just trying to like get a handle on like what this person knows. We have thousands of documents about
Tens of
what
thousands.
happened. Tens of thousands
Yeah,
of documents.
a lot.
This woman's. Whatever was gonna,
So what would you
whatever
have
she
done
has to
differently?
say, the ship has sailed. Okay, she wants to relitigate.
Move on, victims. The ship is sailed.
No, just release the
We're
information.
good. Move on.
Talk
Sorry,
to the
sorry, you
victims.
got
Yes,
sex
why not
trafficked.
talk to the
Release the
victims?
information you have.
I
There's
don't
another
understand.
victim.
I'm in
You have
favor of
the
that.
victims talk to the victims don't
I'm in favor of
want
that.
anyone talking to her. Do you care about that?
Again, I go back to the core point here. You're acting like there's some injustice by talking to a criminal, which law enforcement does every day.
Why are they talking to her?
And asking
Why are they
questions.
talking to her?
Making
Why?
sure because
Why?
sometimes
She's
in life,
convicted.
criminals will lie and then they'll tell you something else. It's called a
All
lead
right.
to get out of it.
So, all right, Ben.
I mean,
Ben,
it's
Ben.
like-
Just one thing. I mean, in a vacuum, what you just said seems eminently reasonable, except for the fact that after this interview, she got a perk. Okay. If you are a victim, and we have heard from many of these victims, and you see what has happened since she sat down for that interview, how do you not conclude that she was rewarded for something? And how does that serve the victims?
Look, I go back to people
There's
move
no answer.
prisons a lot. Can I answer before you say there's no answer?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
He always says it. I'll go back. This is what he does. This is what he does. He knows he's cornered. He's losing his mind trying to defend Trump from this. Literally grasping at straws, gasping for air. It's just so disgusting when you understand what he's doing here. Like, does this guy have kids? How do his kids, when they grow up, how will they look at these things? I just, my brain can't compute this stuff.
Please.
Prisons, they get moved around. People get moved around.
Not like
whether it's Madoff, who did terrible
Okay.
things,
You know-
they move around. Let me
you
finish.
know as
You're
well as
acting
anybody
like,
else
but the part I
that
don't like is the fact that you're
you
acting
know
like
as well
Donald
as
Trump
anybody
somehow
else,
did some sort
Ben,
of deal
that
for
that
her.
is not the case.
That is not the
And that
case.
in one of the most,
That is not the
in
case.
one of the most
You're no, this is the part, and I'm
sex
going to call it
trafficking
out.
cases
You're
in the United
implying-
States.
You're implying that Donald Trump picked up the phone and made a phone call with zero evidence.
Sex trafficking cases in the United States. You're saying, oh, it's just happenstance that the Bureau of Prisons went against its own policy.
So are you accusing
and
Donald
moved
Trump of picking
her.
up the phone?
I'm just
'Cause
saying.
that's breaking news tonight.
I'm just
That's
saying.
like big
the
breaking
Department
news.
of Justice.
He's so disingenuous. You know Abby's not saying this. That he picked up a physical phone and she has evidence of it. You're such a piece of garbage. Look at him acting like this is breaking news. Did you really have that evidence? That's not what she's saying. What she's saying is the very obvious. We all clearly see what's happening here. Trump rewarded her for saying exactly what she said there. This is all performance. You people act like the dumbest people on the planet. They know very well what they do.
Needs to explain. The Department of Justice needs to explain why that happened, and they need to explain it to the public.
I have no problem with that.
And they
What I
need to
don't like
explain
is you
it to the
insinuating that
families.
somehow this was a quid pro
I
quo
know
with
you
the
might
President
not-
of the United
I know
States
you
of
might
America
not-
with zero evidence.
I have a question for
We
you.
gotta go.
Fact
Okay,
check
we
it.
gotta go. I know you might not like
You don't like
that,
it?
that line
I don't
of
like the
questioning.
fact that you're making
but
up things as you
everybody
go
in
about
America
Trump implying
is
he did
asking the
something.
same question.
They're not
Why
asking
was
that
she
question.
moved? Why was she moved,
they are.
Ben? All right,
And
we
the
gotta
answer to that would be
go.
a
Next
clue.
for us.
Why was she moved, Dumbo? Dumbo, why was she moved? You see how he stays there frozen, don't answer? Interrupts everyone on the panel, but don't interrupt there, right? Why was she moved, pendejo? Like, this dude is really sick. And again, look at what he's defending. And for what? These people are sick. I don't care if it was my own family member. I'm not defending you from this. Like, all for a paycheck? Paycheck, really? Like, think about what you're defending. Gasping for air, defending, protecting. Like, holy crap. And I love that that dude keeps interrupting Dumbo. And the MAGA, Dumbo, the MAGA child abuser excuses there. They always interrupt and can't control their outbursts. Dumbo knows this wasn't normal. That a person with her charges cannot be pushed into a lower prison. The only way that was possible was from a favor from high up. Obviously, it's impossible any other way. And you see how oblivious they act? Like everyone else is crazy and delusional and seeing things and insinuating things. Really? Trump's behavior, and just still won't rule out won't rule out pardoning Ghislaine. And all the weird stuff with the missing of the minutes, brought to the lower security prison, the whole theatrics behind this crap. It's clear something's up. Trump did something that he really, really doesn't want you to know about. And I just think we all know what that is. It ain't that hard to figure out. And at the end of the day, this man Dumbo, like all these Republican pundits, are in the service of Trump and to shield him from the most heinous of crimes. That to me is crystal clear as day. He's involved. You would be brain dead to think otherwise. But I'm going to leave it there, and good for Pete for calling out exactly who these people are and what they're defending. Good job. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. It really helps the channel, really helps push the message out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.